Last week, the Middletown Knights improved their league-leading record to 3-0 with a victory after scoring the winning touchdown in the final 2 minutes of their game against previously unbeaten Smithsburg. Also, a week ago, the Catoctin Cougars revealed an unstoppable running attack that led them to a win against FSK. The Knights and Cougars are both on a roll as they come into tonight's MVAL contest. It's Catoctin visiting Middletown in Cable 10's High School Game of the Week. Next.
Cable 10's Game of the Week is brought to you by Burdette Brothers Pontiac. Let us put you in a new Firebird or Bonneville today. Joe Corby's Pizza. Remember, we make the dough, you make the money. And by Tate Chrysler Plymouth. Let Tate be your best auto experience.
From Middletown Stadium at Middletown High School, you're watching Cable 10's High School Game of the Week. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Walker along with Jay Combs, and tonight it's Catoctin visiting Middletown. And Jay, we have two teams tonight who are both coming into this game on a roll. Middletown last week had a comeback victory against a tough Smithsburg team as they won 21-17 by scoring in the final 2 minutes of the game. Again, for the third week, Middletown played the strong, tough defense as they usually do. They also had an offense that showed it can score when it needs to. So Middletown showing why they're currently leading the MVAL and why they're predicted to come in first place when the season's over.
All right, you are, Jeff. What a great combination. A tenacious defense, a very efficient offense that scores when they have to, and that's clearly what happened last week in a really good high school football game against Smithsburg. Matt Main, the sophomore quarterback, now he's into his fifth game as a varsity player, and already people are just saying, geez, what more can this kid do? And last week he really did it all. He won the football game, but it was the way he won it. They recovered the fumble with 2:30 to go. He marches them downfield, hits Tim Drainer with a 35-yard touchdown pass to win that contest, coming from behind at Smithsburg. That's a big win. The other good thing about Maine, as he comes into tonight's contest, I think the number 4 ranked passer in the area, 388 yards. The statistic that jumps out at you, 7 touchdown passes. He's tied with number 1 with Kevin Thompson, the big stud at Damascus, who's going to Penn State next year. That's the kind of player maybe we're talking about here in Middletown. Matt Main, an awfully good quarterback already.
And Catoctin, after 2 straight losses, 38-0 to Smithsburg 3 weeks ago, and a tough 23-15 loss to Boonesboro 2 weeks ago in a game which they didn't make any mistakes. Catoctin very much needed a win last week. They got it against FSK, and they revealed a running game with Danny Whipp that was just basically unstoppable. So Catoctin, we've talked about their passing game all year, but last week they proved they have a running game that can control a game.
I feel like Jimmy Johnson. How about them Cougars? I mean, we talk so much about them throwing the football, and of course with Sweeney and Wagerman, that's what you want to talk about. But young Danny Whipp, 300 yards last week on the ground, 3 separate runs, over 50 yards, an 88-yard kickoff return. They really did do it on the ground last week. One of the reasons for the the resurgence of the rushing attack, if you will, with Catoctin is now that offensive line that was kind of piecemeal patchwork early on is getting back healthy. Hewitt, Spivey, Phillips, all these guys are back now. They're playing real well, and they may pose a little bit of a problem for Middletown tonight if they're able to throw the ball with Sweeney and run the ball with Whipp.
And Jay, as we've talked about in the past, defense is what usually wins a football game. Catoctin's given up 38, 23, and 26 points in the last 3 weeks. They've been unable to stop the run in league play. So Catoctin's going to have to show its ability to stop the run tonight. And I doubt very seriously if they're going to score 4 touchdowns against a tough Middletown defense. So defense the key for Catoctin tonight.
Well, hey, go back. The very first game of the year, Thomas Johnson ran up and down this very same football team against Middletown in the first half. Nobody, I repeat, nobody's done that since. I doubt that anybody will. They're going to have a difficult time moving the ball tonight themselves. They're going to have a difficult time, I think, stopping the run. Tobury, Pat Corbett comes back. He's been out for a couple of weeks with an injury. Chris Moffitt has come in and ran the ball real well. And one of the real strengths of Middletown is their offensive line with Jason Phillips, Jason Gress, Andrew Potter, and a big sophomore center, Evan Routson, 245 pounds. You're right, Jeff. They're going to have their work cut out for him this evening, stopping that run.
So the stage is set. It's Middletown hosting Catoctin at Middletown High School. We'll have the opening kickoff when we come back. I'm Jeff Wachter along with Jay Combs. We're just about set for the football game between the Middletown Knights and the Catoctin Cougars. It's homecoming here at Middletown tonight, the first of 5 homecoming games that we will broadcast for you on Frederick Cable Channel 10. And the announcement of the King and Queen was made prior to the start of the game. They had some homecoming festivities here, Jay. The Queen was Lisa Ressler, and the King, Ryan Jebbia. And quite a story behind Ryan Jebbia. He was involved in a car accident a few years ago, and it's just great to have the guy here tonight, and quite an honor for him to receive the King on homecoming night.
Oh, sure is, Jeff. Not a dry eye in the stands or in the press box when it was announced that Ryan Jebbia was the 1994 homecoming king here at Middletown. Just a heartwarming story. Here's a young man who, after his sophomore season at here at Middletown, basketball player, 6'4", 6'5", and you know, certainly had a bright future in terms of his basketball playing, and that was cut short by a very tragic automobile accident here in the Frederick area. Ryan has made the long climb back, months and months and months of rehabilitation. And I think he spent some time in hospitals in Delaware. I believe he spent some time in hospitals out in the West. I think it was Arizona. This whole community has just absolutely surrounded the Jebbia family with their support. Ryan's mom and dad, Sam and Sue Jebbia, have an awful lot to be certainly thankful for and proud of with their son Ryan. I know the boosters here have done just a magnificent job. A couple of years ago, I remember they had a raffle contest in terms of gaining or gathering funds to help defray some of the huge medical bills that you'd expect. Ryan Jebbia made it back here last year to school in a wheelchair, and tonight it just doesn't get any better to see Ryan Jebbia walk across this field with the aid of a walker. We talk about winners, and Ryan Jebbia is a winner, and he certainly showed that to everyone here this evening.
So Ryan Jebbia and Lisa Ressler, the King and Queen at Middletown High School, the 1994 homecoming. Tonight's football game features Catoctin and Middletown, as we said, and Jay, Catoctin without a couple of key players. Rodney Wagerman is ineligible for tonight's game, key receiver who had 3 touchdown catches in the opening game of the season, but Wagerman won't be in the game tonight.
Yeah, Wagerman won't play, and that certainly doesn't help Gene Sweeney with his aerial attack. They've got a pretty good receiver that takes his place, Jeff.
Asa Brown, he's had 7 receptions on the year. Asa Brown will fill in for Rodney Wagerman this evening. Defensively, though, even bigger loss probably, Shane Tiffany, who has a pinched nerve in his neck. They were expecting Tiffany to be the stabilizer tonight and be the key to stopping the Middletown run, but they'll be without Shane Tiffany this evening.
And that won't help Doug Williams one bit either, with Tiffany being gone. And certainly Kenny Crum, another player who was counted on offensively and defensively, a sophomore, who's been playing very well this evening, is no longer with the team. His family has moved to Ohio. So a lot of missing pieces in the Catoctin team this evening. They're going to have to pull together as a team to try to beat what's quickly becoming one of the real powerhouses in the Monocacy Valley in Middletown.
Tim Drana will kick for the Knights. We're underway. And the ball is taken by Worthen at the 20-yard line, cuts across the field, goes up the middle, gets a few extra yards, and a decent kickoff return by Paul Worthen as he gets out to the 30-yard line. And Catoctin will start its first possession at their own 30-yard line. Catoctin on the year 2-2 as they were victorious the opening week against Archbishop Spalding. Then they lost to Smithsburg and Boonesboro in successive weeks, and then got a victory last week against FSK in the game they won 46-27. Quarterback for the Catoctin Cougars is G. And Catoctin about ready to start its first offensive play. They go to throw on the first play, and Sweeney's pass is short, incomplete. It was intended for John Schreiner. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 10 for the Catoctin Cougars. In the backfield, Danny Whip, number 40, the 300-yard man. Last week had 300 yards against FSK and 4 touchdowns. His backfield mate is Brian Reckley. The wideouts are Asa Brown, who will take the place of Wagerman, and Matt Draper. The tight end is Paul Worthen, and we'll get the offensive line for you in a second. Flag on the play.
Flag on the field.
And it's going to be against the Middletown Knights.
Encroachment now against the Knights, 5
It'll bring up a 2nd down and 5 now for Catoctin. On the offensive line, Jonathan Spivey and Dennis Wobble are the guards. Jeremy Miller is at one tackle. The other tackle is Brian Biggs, and the center, Mike Weibel. And Jay, the Catoctin offensive line, as you mentioned in the pregame, back to full strength now, and that'll be a key tonight as well, as they can, or will try to get that running game going. 2nd and 5. Whip gets the call. Gets out to the 38-yard line. A pickup of 3, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and short for the Cougars.
Talking about that offensive line, Jeff, let me correct a mistake that I did in pregame. I had Phillips of Middletown on Catoctin's offensive line. I'm sure Doug Williams would like to have Phillips, but I was thinking of Jeremy Miller, who's one of the real fine offensive linemen for Catoctin. And you're right, as in most football games, is won at the line of scrimmage, and if the Cats can get the offensive line in gear tonight, they could have some success.
3rd down and 2, split backfield. The give is to Whip, and that tough Middletown defense contains Danny Whip as he's denied a 1st down yardage, and it'll bring up a 4th down and about 3 yards to go. So Catoctin will be in punt formation.
Lost about a yard.
That Middletown defense, which has been very strong the last 3 weeks, Jay, stops Catoctin on its first possession.
Yeah, again, it could be a long evening for the Cats with all the key players that they're missing against a very, very strong Middletown defense.
Number 10, Cam.
Gene Sweeney to punt, Cam Christensen and Mike Huckleberry back to receive the kick. It's Christensen at the 36-yard line. Breaks the tackle and gets up to the 40. So Middletown will have excellent field position as the tackle was made by John Schreiner of Catoctin. And special teams has been a big key for Catoctin this year, especially with Kenny Crum, who is gone now from the team, moving to Ohio. He had 2 touchdowns on special teams.
Yeah, 2 in the last couple of weeks on blocked punts. And boy, that's just a great way for a team to pick up points, and Catoctin needs all the help they can get against a tough Middletown team.
Matt Main, the quarterback for Middletown, on the 1st down play. Fakes the handoff, looks to pass, throws right side, has a wide open Will Vawa, and he's unable to make the reception at the Catoctin 43. And Vawa, had he made that reception, had a lot of running room.
Yeah, he sure did, and Main that time demonstrated why he's quickly becoming one of the top quarterbacks in the area. Just dropped back very nicely and delivered a strike to Valois. Valois dropped it. You know, one of the interesting things about the Knights, Jeff, if you look at the statistical leaders in Frederick County, you don't see any Middletown Knights except for Maine in the passing efficiency, which means they're really spreading the ball around, running and pass receiving.
Pitch back goes to Chris Moffitt, and Moffitt gets up to the 45-yard line before he's hit by 2 tacklers. On the stop for Catoctin, Matt Draper.
Chris Moffitt has done a real good job this year, Jeff, stepping in somewhat in the absence, for the absence of Patrick Corbett. Now we understand Pat Corbett's going to be back this evening for the first time in a couple of weeks, but Moffitt really has stepped in and done the job in the backfield for Tim Ambrose and the Knights.
So it'll be a 3rd down and 5 for the Knights. The line of scrimmage is the 45 of Middletown. Maine looks to throw again, throws right side, complete to Nathan Foltz. Breaks a tackle, he's down the sideline, inside the 35 of Catoctin. And Nathan Foltz, the top receiver for the Middletown Knights, gets a key 3rd down reception. And Middletown will cash it in for a new set of 4 downs.
Nothing fancy that time, but again, great protection by that offensive line for Middletown. Allows Maine to pick out his receiver, and Foltz, one of the better ones in the area. What a nice square pattern that time, and Maine delivered the ball right on the money. 1st down for the Knights.
And apparently Foltz stepped out of bounds at the 40-yard line of Catoctin. Timeout on the field. No score with 9 minutes and 11 seconds left to go in the first quarter. You're watching the high school game of the week on Frederick Cable Channel 10. As you see the Middletown Knights on the field. Mike Huckleberry making some adjustments. Be a 1st down and 10 for the Knights.
1st and 10 Knights.
The backfield for the Knights, Chris Moffitt, as we talked about, and also John Tobery, Mike Huckleberry. They're the backfield for the Knights. Big keys to watch here in this game. And the give is to Moffitt. Gets across the line of scrimmage and down inside the 30-yard line. So Chris Moffitt with some good yardage on the play, and the tackle was made by number 30, Bobby Gray. Gray, just a sophomore, called up from the junior varsity team to take the place of Ken Crum.
15 yards.
He'll be doing the same type of things that Crum did, specialty teams and getting in on some defensive plays.
So getting his baptism under fire here this evening against the Knights. That time, great line play by the offensive line for Middletown, particularly Routson in that center position.
It is a 1st down. The line of scrimmage for 27. And Maine on the quarterback keeper picks up a couple of yards straight up the middle. Brings up a 2nd down for Middletown with 8.5 minutes to go. Dave Hewitt made the stop.
Sorry, Jeff. My guess is that time Maine probably got to the line of scrimmage and either didn't like the play he had called, or he saw something there that he thought he could take advantage of by just keeping the ball and going up the middle of that line.
2nd down and 7. Maine barks out the signals. And to give to Tobery as he carries a couple of Catoctin tacklers and is finally brought down inside the 20. So Tobery on his first carry of the night gets some good yardage.
Well, we're giving credit already to the offensive line of Middletown, but that time, give all the credit to John Tobery. Not a lot of blocking when you're running backwards. Tobery that time just showing how big and strong he is, 6 foot, 210-pound junior. Last year really was a pleasant surprise for Coach Tim Ambrose, taking the place of Scott Montgomery, who was injured midway through the year, and got a lot of experience, and has certainly helped him this year.
3rd down and short. Less than a yard. Maine back to throw on the 3rd down play. It's complete to Nathan Foltz. He's inside the 5 and into the end zone for the touchdown. And Middletown has thrown first blood on homecoming night as they get a touchdown pass from Matt Maine to Nathan Foltz. Number 4 for Nathan Foltz on the receiving end. And Matt Maine with TD pass number 8.
Again, I don't know what Kevin Thompson's done already this evening at Damascus, but right now, Matt Maine, number 1 in the area in terms of touchdown passes with 8. That was just a very simple but well-executed play, a square out by Foltz, and Maine put the ball on the numbers.
Flag on the field.
There's a flag on the play. The last time we were here at Middletown for the opening night against Thomas Johnson, Maine hit Foltz on the opening drive to give Middletown the lead.
We'll try the extra point.
Well, I hope that Coach Tim Ambrose, I'm sure Tim Ambrose hopes that the comparisons end there, Jeff, because after that, certainly the first half, it was all the Thomas Johnson Patriot.
And the penalty is against Catoctin. Extra point attempt by Jason Grove coming up. 6-0, Middletown leading Catoctin with 7:25 to go first quarter. Here's the snap. The hold is down by Maine, and the kick by Grove is good. So Middletown now with a 7-0 lead after the touchdown reception by Nathan Foltz from quarterback Matt Maine, and the extra point by Jason Grove gives them a 7-0 lead. Matt Maine, the sophomore quarterback, again showing his poise on that touchdown toss as you get a good look at the youngster as he heads over to the sideline of Middletown, and Maine has led the way, and he's got a couple of more years after this, Jay.
Yeah, and that's what you have to be so excited about if you're a Middletown Knight fan. The fact that Matt Maine is kind of, OJT, on-the-job training, and really he's well ahead on the curve, I would say. Here we are midway through his very first season as a varsity quarterback here in Middletown. The thing I like about him, forget the numbers right now, is the fact that this kid has a lot of poise, stays in the pocket, looks for his receivers and makes the delivery, and of course he seemingly has this knack for coming up with the big play. And quarterbacks ought to be rated in terms of how many points that they can hang up for their team, and right now Matt Maine is doing an awfully good job in that category.
Middletown 3-1 on the season. They only lost to Thomas Johnson opening week. Since then, they've won 3 league games. Have a lot of momentum coming into tonight's game, and they had that big comeback victory against Smithsburg a week ago when they scored in the final minutes of the game. And another big key in that game was the defense, because they stripped the Smithsburg ball carrier of the ball, which enabled them to get the ball at the 45 and drive it down for the winning score. And then the defense held Smithsburg, stopped them at the 35-yard line as time ran out.
Well, usually when you talk Middletown football, you talk defense first, and offense puts them in the stands, defense wins championships, and that's what the Knights are after this year as a Valley championship.
Tim Drana to kick once again. A good kick taken by Danny Whipp at the 5-yard line. Whipp heads to the right side. He's across the 20, and Danny Whipp out to the 25-yard line.
By number 40, Danny Whipp.
Danny Whipp had an 88-yard kickoff return a week ago to go along with his 300 yards rushing. Probably the game of his life last week for Catoctin.
Yeah, Danny Whipp, he did that in 17 carries. Again, 3 of those runs were better than 50 yards each, and he scored 4 touchdowns. And by virtue of his performance last week, he leapfrogged into the #1 position in terms of area rushers. So Whipp, you're right, Jeff, had a career game in one game last week.
Even though L.J. Jackson had a big game for Frederick. He was the leading rusher going into last week's game. And the fake handoff by Sweeney. He throws, and a nice catch by Brian Reckley. Not much pickup on the play, but Reckley had to really reach down to get that one from Sweeney, but it is a completion and a pickup of about 2 yards.
Number 22,
I think Gene Sweeney that time doing a pretty good job of getting rid of the ball fairly quickly. You're right, he didn't pick up a lot of yardage, but they're going to have to throw the football, I think, to be effective against Middletown. They're going to have to show some different kinds of offensive schemes to try to, stop this defensive attack of Middletown.
Tyler White made the last tackle. Gene Sweeney waving Asa Brown to spread out wider on the right side. Sweeney looking deep. Left side intended for John Schreiner, and incomplete, but a nice spiral there by Gene.
Yeah, that time Sweeney threw the ball probably a good 40 yards in the air, a nice tight spiral, and it really overthrew his receiver, who seemingly was breaking open.
Good coverage on the play by number 27, Mike Huckleberry, who had a pair of interceptions in our last Cable 10 broadcast. Gene Sweeney on the year, 17 of 36, 267 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 of those in the opening week, but only 1 interception, which also came in the opening game. Danny Whipp picks up maybe a yard or 2. It's going to bring up a 4th down, and the Catoctin offense a little slow here at the outset as they're stopped on their first 2 possessions, and they'll have to kick once again.
That time Pat Corbett, kid that we talked about, who had been out the last couple of weeks, really did his job, stayed home that time, read the draw, and gobbled up Whipp before he could get going.
So it's a 4th down and 7. Sweeney will punt. He's standing at his 16-yard line. Averages 30 yards a kick this year. And it's a short kick. Middletown will let it hit the ground at the 47. And a good roll for the Catoctin Cougars as it rolls down to the 43 of Middletown. It's down right there. And Middletown will start its second possession at its own 43-yard line. And the last time we had Middletown on Cable 10 against Walkersville in the first half, it was the field possession that was a big key to leading them to a victory in that game, 13-0. They held a 7-0 halftime lead, but had the ball a lot in Walkersville territory in the first half. And here in the game tonight, they've had excellent field position on their first 2 possessions. 5:15 to go, first quarter. And Maine gives the ball to John Tobery on the left side. On the fumble, picked up by Middletown. Number 56, Evan Routson.
Picked up about 1.
Talked about Evan Routson before, Jeff. Very impressed with this kid. 6'3", 243 pounds, and he's only a sophomore. He and Maine are going to be together for 2.5 more years. You know, you build. You know, you hear them about building strength up the middle in baseball. They're doing it here in football in Middletown.
Second down at the 45. Pitch back to Moffitt. Had trouble controlling the ball. Crosses the 45 out to the 47. And the tackle on the play is made by Matt Draper of Catoctin. So it could have been a disaster there for Middletown had Moffitt not been able to control that football.
Well, big third down play now for the Cat defense. They get a chance to stop Middletown and maybe, you know, try to get something going offensively on their own. But the first thing they have to do is to shut down Middletown on this third and call it, what, Jeff, 7 to go for the first.
Nathan Foltz checked into the game. Cam Christensen to the sideline. Foltz split out to the far side of the field. Maine looks at his favorite target, then throws over the middle to Huckleberry at the 41. He breaks the tackle, gets inside the 30, and a big first down pickup by Mike Huckleberry on the receiving end of a Matt Maine pass.
21, Matt Draper.
Good look by Matt Maine. He looked at Foltz immediately as he took the snap and then threw over the middle to Huckleberry.
Yeah, nice play that time by the Knights, and of course a great throw by Maine. But Huckleberry doing a good job of getting in between the seams that time, and a little bit behind the linebackers, a little bit in front of the defensive backs, and Maine found him.
25-yard pickup for Huckleberry. First down at the Catoctin 29-yard line. And flags all over the field. Looks like it'll be illegal procedure against the Middletown Knights. We'll wait for the official's indication. And it is illegal procedure. A 5-yard penalty will move it back to the 34 and bring up a first down and 15 with just under 3.5 minutes to go first quarter. It's Middletown leading Catoctin 7-0. Knights come up to the line of scrimmage. Maine gives to Moffitt. Breaks a tackle in the backfield. And Moffitt down close to the 25-yard line.
And he was stopped by 65, Andy Mathias.
And a stop made by Andy Mathias, but not for Moffitt. Picks up about 5 yards.
Starting to see Middletown have some success, Jeff, running in places where Shane Tiffany would have been. That time, Tiffany, from his middle guard position, would have been around the ball carrier, I guarantee you.
And officially, they give Moffitt 8 yards on the pickup. Brings up a second down and 7 from the 25. Maine, fake handoff. Looks again as Drana open. And Drana hauls it in at the 15-yard line. Tim Drana, the man who had the 34-yard touchdown reception, the game winner a week ago. And he's tackled by Paul Warthen. And Middletown on the move once again, looking good through the air.
Yeah, they really are, and not only looking good, but spreading the ball around already. Maine has completed passes to Drana, to Foltz, to Huckleberry, to Valois, and in fact, Will dropped a pass that was very catchable. So we talked about the fact that if you look at the stats, not one person is really doing it for Middletown. It's the team concept, clearly, and they're doing it very well here in the first quarter this evening.
Combination of players, and as Jay mentioned, nobody really in the county leaders except for the quarterback, Maine. No rusher has over 200 yards, but they're all steady. You got Huckleberry, Tobery, Moffitt, who's had a couple of good games in a row. And on the receiving end, as Jay mentioned, Maine uses several different receivers. So the Middletown Knights, a very balanced offense.
Of course, that makes it tough to defend against, Jeff, when you can't key on one player. You know, one of the problems that Catoctin has now with primarily Sweeney and Whip are their offense. You can sort of key on a player and shut them down, and when you try to defend Middletown, you don't really know whether to try to shut down the run and play that aggressively, or whether you shut down the pass. And if you try to go for the pass, which one of these very able receivers do you try to put double coverage on? It's a tough task for a defensive coordinator to have.
1st and 10 at the 15, and again the whistle blows.
Official timeout.
Interestingly, Jeff, these teams come in here this evening, Middletown in 1st in the Valley and Catoctin 6th, and that's precisely where they were picked in the preseason. So the preseason scribes were doing a pretty good job in the handicap in the Valley Conference.
Maine, the give to Moffitt, gets across the line of scrimmage. He may go into the end zone for the touchdown. It's Chris Moffitt. A 15-yard touchdown run for Moffitt. And now the Knights have a 13-0 lead, the first score of the year for Moffitt. As once he crossed the line of scrimmage, he was gone, Jay.
Yeah, he just busted through the hole on the right side, saw daylight, and knew what to do with it then. And Chris scampered into the end zone for the second score of the evening for Middletown.
Jason Grove on to attempt the extra point. He's 6 for 10 on the season. Maine with the hold, and the kick is up and good. Now the Middletown Knights have a 14-0 lead with 2:28 left to go in the first quarter. And Middletown able to do exactly what they want on offense. Things not looking too good for Catoctin here in the early part of the game.
No, they're not. We've commented a couple of times already. If you check the statistics on Middletown, not a lot of people showing up. But when this game is over, if they continue at the pace that they're certainly playing at, that might change, because right now they're just moving the ball effortlessly down the field. And again, Catoctin, with some of the players that they're missing, not only offensively but defensively, and certainly Jeffrey, as you well mentioned, Shane Tiffany, just a gaping hole. This is a tough kid, an excellent football player, gives him some size and strength. He's not here. Kenny Crum, who you mentioned, has been playing better and better. This is sophomore season. He's not playing. So, when you're at a small school where you have small teams, it's a numbers problem sometimes, and there's just not that many players and patches that you can plug into a hold, and that's part of the problem that Doug Williams' Cats are having here this evening, with a very fired up and emotional homecoming, ready Middletown 19.
Tim Drana will kick for the 3rd time this evening. Back deep for Catoctin, Bobby Gray and Danny Whip. Ball is placed on the 40-yard line. .228 left to go in the first quarter. 14-0 Middletown. A line drive kick taken by Whip at the 10-yard line. He's across the 25. And Danny Whip up to the 30-yard line for Catoctin on the kickoff return. So they'll start right there. Try to get that offense going with quarterback Gene Sweeney. First 2 possessions, Catoctin 1, 2, 3, and punt. See if they can pick up their first down on this drive. And Danny Whip, as we said, had a big game last week. Unable to get untracked in the first 2 possessions. 2 backs in the backfield behind the quarterback Sweeney. And he loses the ball. Very alert play by Brian Reckley. Saw the ball come loose from Sweeney's grasp and jumped right on it. A loss of about 2 yards on the play, back to the 28-yard line, so it'll bring up a 2nd down and 12. But good reaction by Brian Reckley.
Loss of 1 yard, 2nd and 11.
Now, Gene Sweeney's going to have to make a big play here to kind of get things going the opposite direction for the Cats, and I think he's going to have to throw the ball to do that.
2nd down play. And again, Sweeney loses the football. This time, it appears that Middletown may have it. And they do. And the recovery made by Dustin Hall. Big turnover now. Middletown already has a 2-touchdown lead. Now they'll get the football at the 27-yard line of Catoctin. We're not even finished the first quarter yet. Middletown has a chance to score its third touchdown of the game.
Well, Jeff, this is deja vu all over again for the Catoctin Cougars in Cable 10. The last time, or earlier this season when we had them on against Smithsburg, it seems to me the same kind of thing happened. You know, the Leopards of that night ran up the score quickly, and that's what Middletown's trying to do right now.
Maine on the first down play, and the give is to Tobury.
And off to 43.
Good defense by Catoctin as they grab a hold of the big fullback, but he still picks up some good yardage down to the 23 as he's able to carry a couple of Catoctin players.
He's a big, strong kid. And, he doesn't need a whole lot of hold to cause damage for Catoctin. That time relying mostly on his strength and hitting that hole fairly quick. He picked up close to 5 yards, mostly on his own.
Brian Biggs was able to make the tackle. Second down and 6, and again to throw is Maine. He's got Huckleberry wide open at the 15, and Huckleberry inside the 5-yard line of Catoctin. And it'll bring up another first down and goal for the Middletown Knights as Mike Huckleberry gets the reception.
Second time this evening, Huckleberry doing a good job of finding the seam in the Catoctin defense, and Maine doing a good job of being patient, waiting for him to come open, and then making the strike delivery, where they really have their offensive team going well this evening.
John Schreiner was able to make the saving tackle for the Cougars. First and goal for Middletown. And the give is to Moffitt, and he's down to the 2-yard line. He picks up 3 yards on the play, and time has run out here in the first quarter. It's been all the Middletown Knights as they put a fresh 12 minutes on the board to get ready to start the second quarter. We'll take a break. It's Middletown 14, Catoctin nothing. We're back after these messages.
Burdett Brothers, a family-operated dealership, has helped the Frederick area drive Pontiac excitement for 50 years. Today, Burdett Brothers has a full line of 94s like the Grand Am, comfortable by design, sporting by nature, and the Transport, the van that carries any load with safety and stylish looks. Located on 355 just south of Urbana, Burdett Brothers will help you drive excitement in the sophisticated Bonneville or the Firebird, the Standard, and sports cars. A full-service dealership with an award-winning service department and body shop. Burdett Brothers Pontiac.
Number 1.
It'll be a second and goal for Middletown. They have the ball down inside the 2-yard line, about 1.5 yards to go for a score for the Knights. We're just beginning second quarter action. Matt Maine gives to Chris Moffitt. And he takes the ball close to the goal line. Brings up now a third down play. Moffitt is about 1/2 yard away from a touchdown.
It looked like at time Moffitt got his feet tangled up with Siegel, and were it not for that, I think he would have been in the end zone. A gaping hole off the left side of the Middletown line that time.
Middletown, after the fumble by the Catoctin Cougars, has a third down play. And Moffitt this time takes it into the end zone from 1 yard out for the score. Middletown ahead now 20-0 as they take advantage of a Catoctin turnover and put together a 27-yard drive, which culminates in a Chris Moffitt 1-yard touchdown run, his second of the game and second of the season. Jason Grove on to attempt the extra point. So it didn't take much time for Middletown to put their third score on the board. Matt Maine with the hold. The kick by Grove. A high kick. It is up and good. 21-0 Middletown.
11-21 second quarter. Nice
2 touchdowns by Chris Moffitt on 15 and 1-yard runs following a 19-yard pass play from Matt Maine to Nathan Foltz. 3 extra points by Jason Grove. And that's where we stand, 21-0 Middletown leading Catoctin.
Timmy Ambrose was a little concerned coming into the season about his place kicking because he had one of the best ones in the area last year, and John Osmond, who was graduated, but the kicker they have this evening is doing an awfully good job.
Jason Grove has converted on 7 extra points in 11 attempts this year. Osmond last year had 6 field goals for this Middletown team.
Tim Drainer was kicking off for Knight. Gray.
Tim Drainer getting a lot of activity early. He'll kick off for the 4th time this evening. Once again back deep for Catoctin, Bobby Gray, the sophomore, and Danny Whip. They're standing at the 5-yard line.
One good thing, Jeff, if you're going to be down by 3 scores, it's good to be down by 3 scores with nearly the entire game left to try to scratch and claw your way back in. I kind of remember saying that when Catoctin went up against Smithsburg. Unfortunately, that night the Cats just couldn't get it going, and hopefully for the Catoctin fans, they will be able to find the key to getting the offense untracked and probably more importantly, shutting down this potent Middletown offensive attack.
Drainer's kick. It's a good kick. Whip takes it at the 15-yard line. Has some momentum as he took it on the run. And Danny Whip across the 30 out to the 33, 34-yard line. And Catoctin will have its best field possession of the game. We're going to have to throw, though, now, Jay. And that kind of takes away the running game early. That was the strength of Catoctin last week, but Danny Whip gaining 300 yards. And when you're down by 3 touchdowns in the second quarter, brings up a lot of passing situations and makes it tough to run.
Yeah, it sure does. And of course, the Knights are certainly aware of that, and they're able to align their defenses accordingly. And tough road to hoe now for the Cougars.
Danny Whip, the lone setback behind Sweeney. Whip gets the call and crosses the 35-yard line out to the 37. Pickup of about 4 or 5 yards.
Well, let me
Good
tell
run
you,
by Whip.
Sorry, Jeff, and if that particular scheme was any indication, they're going to keep the ball on the ground. They had it was almost like a goal line offense that time with everybody in tight.
Sean like Crane made the stop.
Line it up in that same sort of offensive scheme again.
Doug Williams with the philosophy that, hey, there's 3 quarters still to go.
Hand off again to
And Whip once again.
number 40, Danny
And he
Whip.
lost the ball.
Picks up of about 4 yards.
And he was down on the play, so Catoctin will still have possession. Danny Whip has picked up 9 yards on the first 2 carries of this possession. It'll be a 3rd down and short for the Cougars, 3rd down and about 1 yard. And you have almost 3 quarters, like you said, Jay. You can run the ball, but you need to stop the other team on defense.
Oh, he's going out of the game now. He's getting ready to comment, but number 74, Dave Hewitt, 6'3", 308-pound tackle, was lining up in the backfield that time as a blocking back. He's out of the game for this play.
3rd down and 1 for the Cougars. And Whip gets the 1st down yardage as he crosses the 45-yard line, picks up about 4 more. Danny Whip with 3 consecutive runs picks up 1st down yardage, and Jared Allman is in on the stop for Middletown. So Gene Sweeney and the Cougars get their first down of the game.
And here comes we're going to call it the jumbo attack with 74 Hewitt back in the game. It's getting kind of fun now as Doug Williams shaking things up. And take a look at number 74 lining up in the backfield. And how would you like to try to shirk off that block if you're a Middletown Knight player?
And Whip once again following the blocking, and he gets out to the 50-yard line. Danny Whip with another pickup of 5 yards, and he's stopped by number 43, John Tobery. So Catoctin putting some yardage up on the board with the running game here on this drive.
Yeah, if they don't wear Whip out, they might be able to do something, but Dan Whip has stepping up to the task right now. They're going to switch and go to the other side with Hewitt moving now off the right side of the offensive line.
Whip once again following Hewitt. Not much on that play, maybe 1 yard. Hewitt was injured in the first game of the year, or the second game of the year, a game you saw on Cable 10 when they played Smithsburg, and looked like it might be a serious injury, but he just missed the rest of the Smithsburg game and then has been back for the last 2.
Andy Mathias, part of that jumbo backfield set up for the Cats that time too, and credit Doug Williams for being creative and actually being very practical with, seemingly not having any luck throwing the football and whip his horse. He's going to use him, and that's a good way to do it.
Big play coming up, 3rd down and 4 from the 49 of Middletown. This time a pitch back to Whip. Trying to turn the corner, he gets the first down as he's down to the 42 of Middletown. And again, good blocking on the play by the Catoctin offensive line. And Danny Whip picks up first down yardage.
Oh, this is really good for the Cats. 6 consecutive running plays by Whip and a pair of first downs, and get a little momentum going Catoctin's way, boost their confidence up, and they think they're back in this ball game. And if they can keep marching down the field this way, they very well may be.
Patience for Doug Williams' Catoctin Cougars. Down by 3 touchdowns. Stick with the running game. And again, Danny Whip gets the carry. He may eclipse the 17 carries he had last week. Pick up of a couple of yards, and Andrew Potter made the stop for Middletown.
Nice surge that time by the Cat line. Jonathan Spivey doing a good job, doing the dirty work in front of Whip, and Danny doing a nice job of picking up a couple of yards.
2nd down and 7 after Whip's 3-yard pickup. Danny Whip once again. And again, the Cougar line with the surge. And Whip is down inside the 35.
Carries the ball down about the 30.
Stop once again made by number 65, Sean Crane.
Well.
Stop by Sean Crane.
Nice effort again by Whip and a good effort by the offensive line. And boy, Jeff, if you're a little bit of a riverboat gambler, is Middletown primed to take a play action pass right now, maybe a little fake to Whip, and if Asa Brown can find some opening, that Middletown night team, the defense is really, really close to the line of scrimmage, all 11 players.
This is the kind of game Catoctin played against Boonesboro in the first half a couple of weeks ago. Only lost to the defending champions by 8 points. Danny Whip, the fake. Sweeney looking deep down the field. Just barely incomplete. Nathan Foltz on the coverage. It was intended for Bobby Gray.
Well, there was the play action pass, and credit Middletown for really doing a pretty good job getting back to defend number 11 Foltz in the area there. But Gene Sweeney a little slow getting up. Hopefully he's okay. But well, I like the way Williams is doing things now. He's being creative. He came in with that jumbo set in the backfield, moved the ball downfield. 3rd and 2, and he went for the pass, and he's still got another shot at it right here on 4th down.
Gene Sweeney shaken up a little bit on the last play. Good play action pass, as Jay mentioned. Gene Sweeney, the leader of this Catoctin team, from the quarterback position, a 4-year starter at QB, something you don't see very often in high school. Sweeney shaken up. 6 minutes, 6 seconds left to go in the first half, and Middletown has a 21-0 lead.
Well, Gene, as you see there on your screen, if he's unable, he's going to have to come out for a play. And now Doug Williams has got to bring in a reserve quarterback to try to execute what up until this point is the most important offensive play of the evening for the Catoctin Cougars.
Steve Willis will check into the game for Catoctin. Backup quarterback. We saw him get into some action against Smithsburg a couple of weeks ago.
4th and 3 from the 34.
Good looking quarterback, 5'10", 166 pounds, but he's got a big play in front of him right now. 4th down and just a couple of yards. The handoff to Whip, and with Danny Whip in your backfield, going to get some positive results as Whip gets down to the 27-yard line, and a first down for Catoctin.
This is great. Mathias and Hewitt. Again, the jumbo package in the backfield doing a good job off the left side of that line that time, and Whip doing an excellent job of following the blockers and picking up the big first down for the Cats.
Allman and Foltz made the stop. 1st and 10 at the 25. And again, Danny Whip inside the 25. He picks up about 3 more yards. It's been exclusively Danny Whip on this possession, with the exception of one pass play, which fell incomplete. Brian Tidd on the stop for Middletown. 5.5 minutes, and the clock is running. That's the time left to go in the first half.
Hey, Jeff,
now out of the game is Hewitt.
Yeah, Hewitt and Matthias go out, so the jumbo package is out, and now they're back to a more conventional setup, at least in terms of the players in the backfield for the Cougars.
Reckley and Draper are in the backfield with Whip this time. Pitch back to Whip. He goes right side, turns the corner, and tripped up just inside the 20. And a good stop on the play as Tobery made the tackle for Middletown. Third down and 7 coming up for Catoctin.
What a great tackle that time by Tobery, because I think if Whip had been able to elude John, he may have gone all the way in the end zone. Looks like number 9 coming back into the ball game for the
So Gene Sweeney, with just a quick breather after being shaken up a couple of plays ago, is back in the game. Third down and 3. The line of scrimmage just inside the 20. Pitch back Whip. This time he goes left side, following the blocking of Reckley inside the 15, and blasts his way down to the 11-yard line. It's going to be very close to a first down. Jarrett Allman again on the stop for Middletown. And the jumbo package back in once again.
Danny
Enough for the first down.
Yeah, Danny Whip, not that big, 5'9", 167 pounds, but he sure runs hard. Middletown says, whoa, timeout. We got to regroup here because the jumbo's really got us on the ropes here. Tim Ambrose coming out to talk shop with his defensive team. You know, the other good thing about this attack right now that Doug Williams has changed to, Jeff, is that it keeps the Middletown offense off the field. And right now, the best defense might be for Catoctin, might be to do that, might be to keep Middletown's offensive team on the sidelines, and the Cats are doing a good job of doing that right now.
Well, if Catoctin can figure out a way to just keep the ball 3 straight possessions without giving it to Middletown, they may be in good shape. They're driving the ball now as they have it at the Middletown 11-yard line, using the running of Danny Whip behind big Dave Hewitt and Andy Matthias with the jumbo backfield.
Jumbo package, and again, credit Williams. I mean, that's just so creative, and what a here a welcome homecoming in 1994, and for Middletown, and the Cats are supposed to roll over and play dead, and for a while that's seemingly the way it was happening, but not now.
Homecoming at Middletown High School, and the Lights had their way as they scored on their first 3 possessions. 19-yard pass from Matt Main to Nathan Foltz, and then touchdown runs of 15 and 1 yard by Chris Moffitt. And that last touchdown after a fumble by Catoctin, 21-0 lead they have at this point. 4:20 left to go in the first half, but Catoctin is on the move. First and 10, the ball at the 11-yard line, and the jumbo package backfield once again. Dan Whip once again, he breaks a tackle, gets into the end zone for a touchdown, and Catoctin is on the board as Danny Whip, behind the blocking of Dave Hewitt and Andy Matthias, and also good running strength on his own, gets into the end zone from 11 yards away, and Catoctin has gotten on the board. It's 21-6 with 4:15 to go in the first half.
Well, what a just a great drive by Catoctin, and certainly Danny, featuring the running of Danny Whip and the blocking of just a whole assortment of kids, but certainly the jumbo pack that Williams went to really helped Catoctin on that drive.
So the Cougars will go for the 2 points. They're down by 15. Sweeney looks to throw, and then he pitches it to Draper. And Draper denied the 2-point conversion, but a good call by Coach Williams, and pretty good execution by Sweeney and the Cougars, but a good Middletown defense denies them of the 2-point conversion. So it's 21-6 with 4:15 to go in the first half.
Yeah, nice little shovel pass that time, a play they haven't shown this evening, and they were almost successful getting into the end zone. I was just watching Gene Sweeney coming off the field, and he is walking very, very gingerly. He's, I think he's in some pain, and I think that was a gut check effort on the part of Sweeney to come back in and get the Cats into the end zone the last 3 or 4 plays. Now it's up to the Catoctin defense, who has to be aroused now after that very, very efficient offensive series by the Cats, and if they can stop Middletown here, maybe they can get on the board again and get into halftime, and we got ourselves a football game.
So 21-6 as the Cougars line up for the kickoff, and it's got to give these kids some confidence now. They had to be stunned, down 21-0 after 3 possessions by Middletown, but now they get a little bit of confidence, and who knows what can happen with
Hey, Jeff,
4:15 left to go in the half.
I smell an onside kick. This guy, I think he's letting it all hang out right now, so who knows?
Coach Doug Williams with nothing to lose.
And
the kick will be by Dennis Weibel. A couple of guys back deep for Middletown. And Weibel kicks it away. Taken at the 18-yard line by Chris Moffitt. Has a couple of blockers in front of him. Then good pursuit by the Catoctin special teams as they close in on Chris Moffitt. Asa Brown made the stop for the Cougars. Had a little bit of help on the play by Mike Weibel, and Middletown will start its possession at the 29-yard line, just shy of the 30, with 4 minutes, 7 seconds left to go first half.
I must have smelled that fine Middletown pizza from the concession stand. Not an onside kick that time, but it wouldn't have surprised me if Doug had went for it.
Tobery on the give, has a big hold up the middle. And Tobery up close to the 40-yard line, also close to first down yardage, as he's stopped by Paul Worthen. Middletown answering after the Catoctin touchdown, not letting up offensively.
Yeah, so important here for Catoctin after that nice offensive drive to make a defensive stand here, get a stop on Middletown. And even if they're not able to get into the end zone, they want to stop the bleeding. They did that partially by scoring themselves. They don't want to let Middletown score any more in this half.
Second down and about a yard to go. The quarterback keeper by Maine. He breaks a tackle. He's across the 50 to the Catoctin 40. One man to beat. It's John Schreiner. And Schreiner able to make the stop in open field at the 23-yard line. And a big play by quarterback Matt Maine.
Yeah, and that's all Matt Maine. And I got a feeling that wasn't, again, the play called. He did that earlier in the first quarter. But when he gets up to the line of scrimmage, you know, the quarterback's in charge. And if he sees something that he thinks is a better play than what he's called in the huddle, you know, he needs to go to that play. That time Maine saw something in the defensive alignment from Catoctin that would indicate there was some running room. And certainly Matt did a great job of taking advantage of it.
Just had a yard to go. He figured, hey, I'll get the 1 yard. We'll have a fresh set of downs. But he went for 47 yards. And Moffitt is stuck in the backfield. And a good hit by number 73, Jeremy Miller, as Moffitt will lose a couple of yards.
Well, that's a number-on-number tackle that time by Jeremy Miller. Nice pop by Miller, a 6'1", 216-pound senior for the Catoctin Cougars. You see Gene Sweeney at the bottom of your screen right there, number 9. Still, he's hurt. Sweeney gutting it out, but Gene's not on sparkling on all fours right now, that's for sure.
Second down and 12 from the 25. Clock winding down, he fakes the handoff, looks left side, has a man wide open, it's Nathan Foltz! And Foltz is down close to the goal line. And another big play. And he's brought down by Schreiner once again.
And let me tell you, Jeff, Matt Maine took a heck of a shot that time. He didn't see that pass completed, but that ball was laid out perfectly to Foltz. A great pass play that time by Matthew Maine, and a nice catch by Nathan Foltz.
So 21 yards on the pickup, or 23 yards rather on the pickup. And it's going to be first and goal for Middletown at about the 1.5 yard line. 2:05 to go. And that's Pat Corbett getting the call. And Corbett didn't get into the end zone. Now Chris Moffitt will check back in, so Pat Corbett making his first carry. And Sweeney making the stop on the play at the 1 yard line. So Pat Corbett, who we haven't seen since the opening night against Thomas Johnson when he had 5 carries for 31 yards in the first half, gets the call. Second down and goal. Maine barks out the signals. Fakes the handoff, looks to throw, and he's got Jason Grove in the end zone for the score. And Middletown now with a 27-6 lead. As we said earlier, Middletown not using just one man to get its scoring. They've used several different players in this game, and the third member of the Middletown Knights team gets a touchdown tonight. Moffitt has 2 runs, and now the second pass play by Matt Maine. The first one to Nathan Foltz. This one goes to Jason Grove. And Grove trying to tack on the extra point for Middletown. Hold is down, kick is up, kick is good, 28-6. Middletown, they've scored on every possession here tonight against Catoctin, and they have a 22-point lead and a good-looking drive as they answer after Catoctin got on the scoreboard.
Yeah, they surely did, and Maine just did a wonderful job that time. Of course, the big play, the 40-odd yard run by Maine, he got up to the line of scrimmage, saw something, and took off and picked up big yardage, but then two tough pass plays that time. First to Foltz, and then that time to Grove, and both times Maine really takes a shot as he's delivering the football, but he hangs in there, absorbs the blow, and follows through and makes great passes on both occasions, and Middletown up very comfortably 28-6.
As you see the Middletown kickoff team heading onto the field. Tim Drana set to kick once again, and he's out there for the 5th time already. We have 1:22 left to go in the first half. Danny Whipp and Bobby Gray back deep for the Cougars.
I'll be curious, Jeff, to see the halftime passing statistics for Maine. I remember
only missed one, I believe, and that was the one that Grove had in his, or Bauer
dropped the pass, and exactly, that's what was going through my mind. Has he not completed any other passes? And that one was right on the money. So he's doing an excellent job of throwing this evening and doing what he's done all year, being very efficient in terms and proficient in terms of touchdown passes. Now 9 on the season, 2 here tonight.
Matt Maine has thrown 9 interceptions prior to tonight's game, and that was the big key, not to make mistakes, and he's not making any tonight. And a short kickoff taken by Worthen at the 23, heads up the right side of the field, took a knock, and then takes the ball across the 35 out to the 37. So a good kickoff return by Paul Worthen.
He stopped by 41, Corey Duffy.
And Catoctin will try to get something going once again as they had a good sustained drive on their last possession. And Gene Sweeney is out there at quarterback, but he's definitely hurting, as we've seen since he got shaken up on the last possession. Sweeney still in the game at quarterback, senior quarterback. 1st and 10 at the 37.
And the Cats back to their more conventional offensive scheme, not the jumbo package that we saw the last time.
Giving the jumbo guys a little rest. On that carry, it was Matt Draper as he picks up maybe a yard or two. Bring up a 2nd down and 9 for the Catoctin Cougars. May see that jumbo package back in real quick, Jed. Still Draper and Reckley along with Whipp in the Catoctin backfield. 2nd down and long, just 39 seconds left to go first half. Sweeney looks to throw, has some pressure, throws deep left side, looking for Asa Brown, and it's picked off by Nathan Foltz at the 32. He heads up the sideline across the 50, inside the 35, and finally brought down at the 33-yard line. And the tackle made by Brian Biggs, so Nathan Foltz comes up with the interception and the 2nd turnover by the Catoctin Cougars. So Middletown will get it back with a chance to get some more points with just 25 seconds to go.
Well, probably the one thing, if you're a Catoctin Cougar fan, you didn't want to see happen, and that was a turnover that gives Middletown, with 25 ticks of the clock and the ball out about the 32-yard line, certainly a chance to, if not get into the end zone, maybe get close enough to take a shot at a field goal. Jason Grove doing a pretty good job this evening of point afters, and maybe can kick a field goal for the Knights.
So a 36-yard return, all at the 32-yard line. Toberry has some room on the left side, gets down to the 23-yard line, close to first down yardage. And the tackle on the play made by Schreiner, and time has run out here in the first half.
I think
Middletown.
maybe, Jeff, excuse me, I think Middletown got a timeout before the clock time expired, so I got a feeling we're going to see Grove or somebody in here for a long field goal attempt. Maybe Tim Drana, who was doing the kickoffs.
Grove is not on the field at this time. So the scoreboard clock has 3 zeros, but there is apparently time enough for one last play. It'll be a field goal attempt by Tim Drana. Ball will be set down at the 30-yard line, so it will be a 40-yard attempt for Tim Drana. This will be the final play of the first half. Middletown already leading 28-6. Maine's hold is down. It's a line drive kick. He's got the distance, and it's good. So Tim Drana with a 40-yard field goal as time has run out in the first half. Middletown has a 31-6 lead. Jay and I will be right back to wrap up the first half after these messages.
The all-new Plymouth Neon is at Tate Chrysler Plymouth with its best-in-class standard power and sports-like handling. Automobile Magazine named it Automobile of the Year. Tate is celebrating the 10th anniversary of the minivan, offering the value-packed Voyager and the luxurious Town & Country. Come to Tate and test drive the superb handling LHS, the affordable Concorde, or the classy New Yorker. Stop by Tate today on Route 85, Frederick.
Nobody has what Tate has, no sir. Nobody has what Tate has.
Everybody loves the taste of Joe Corby's Pizza. Now your school or organization can raise money by selling Joe Corby's Pizza Kits. For each kit that your organization sells, it receives $4.50. For lunch, dinner, and now dessert, there's nothing like the taste of our freshly baked crust. For your next fundraiser, there should be no alternative. Let our 10 years of experience work for you. Call Joe Corby's today. Remember, we make the dough, you make the money.
It's homecoming night at Middletown High School, and Middletown with a 31-6 halftime lead. Middletown with an excellent first half, Jay, a very balanced offense, 223 yards of total offense. They did it through the air with Matt Main throwing for 108 yards. Also had a lot of yards on the ground, 16 carries, 150 yards, a totally balanced offense for Middletown.
Yeah, Jeff, sometimes the numbers lie. I think this is one time where clearly the numbers do not. A very dominant first half statistically for Middletown, and certainly the most important number on the scoreboard, the 31 points that the Knights rang up. Led by number 16 there in your picture, Matthew Main, who was 7 for 9, 168 yards through the air, and a pair of touchdown passes, one to Nathan Foltz and the other to Jason Grove. And Maine, as we talked about in the pregame, is just getting better and better every week. Jeff, you had a good comment during the course of the second quarter when you talked about the fact that he now has 9 touchdown passes, and that also puts him even with 9 interceptions, but no interceptions tonight. I got a feeling that as the season goes on, you're going to see that ratio spread a lot more TD passes than interceptions because of experience and just getting comfortable with running this offense.
And the Catoctin Cougars had one really good drive in the first half, led mainly by Danny Whip as he carried the ball every time except for one pass play. Catoctin got into the end zone on an 11-yard run by Danny Whip, unable to convert on the 2-point conversion. But Danny Whip, an excellent first half for Catoctin behind the jumbo package backfield blocking.
Yeah, the jumbo package that Williams put in the game in the second quarter did two things. Took some of the pressure off Gene Sweetie there. You see him in your screen, number 9, who had a difficult first half passing the ball. Whip 16 carries for 70 yards. 70 total yards on the ground for the Cougars in the first half. Took some of the pressure off of Sweeney from throwing the football, and of course let Catoctin get back into the game in the sense that they were able to keep this very potent Middletown offense off the field for nearly 6-7 minutes in the second quarter. And I think, Jeff, you were right. I believe the Knights scored every time they touched the end of the second quarter when they intercepted a pass with some 30-40 seconds to go. And then Drainer comes in and drains a field goal from 40 yards out to give him a 31-6 halftime lead.
Nathan Foltz made the interception at the 32-yard line of Middletown and then raced down the sideline. They had possession at the 32, and a couple of plays later, with like 1 second left on the clock, as you said, Drainer came in and just nailed it, got the 40-yard field goal. So that's where we stand, 31-6, as we get set for second half action. And Catoctin will kick to Middletown. Big number 72, Dennis Weibel, will kick off for the Cougars back deep. Chris Moffitt for the Middletown Knights. Also with him is number 21, that's E.O. Raglamar. Haven't seen him yet this evening.
E.O. going to get a chance maybe to run it back. And of course, this, if you're a Catoctin fan, you certainly didn't want to have this happen, have to give the ball to Middletown to begin the second half, but that's exactly what's going to happen here tonight.
Fresh 12 minutes on the clock. Just waiting for the whistle from the officials.
Great crowd here this evening, Jeff. Homecoming for Middletown. The first, as I believe you told me, 5 homecoming games that we have for Cable 10 this year. And the Knights doing what is supposed to be done at Middletown, which is to take it to the visiting team.
And we'll have 4 straight broadcasts, which will feature homecomings. And next week, it'll be Brunswick at Walkersville. Interesting game on tap here on Cable 10. It'll be homecoming at Walkersville. We're set for the kickoff by Wyville. There's the whistle. Wyville set to kick from the 40-yard line. And it is an onside kick. Gets past Nathan Foltz and goes out of bounds at the 28-yard line. And flags on the field, but good idea by Catoctin. Jay mentioned they may do the onside kick earlier in the game, but they just saved it here till the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't pizza that I smelled. Maybe it was the onside kick, and they changed the order when they got to the line of scrimmage. But that was the same sort of lineup that they were in the second quarter when it appeared that maybe they were going to go that route. This time they did it, but the ball went out of bounds. And they came awfully close to gathering that ball, Jeff. That would have been a great way to start the third quarter for the Cats.
Ball got past Nathan Foltz, guy who probably has one of the best set of hands on the team. Just bounced by him, a tricky bounce.
So let me tell you, I was talking to Nathan's dad here at halftime, and he was telling me about Nathan's sister, who was graduated #1 in engineering from the University of Maryland, nuclear engineering, no doubt. And, she's out now at the University of Illinois in Champaign, pursuing a master's degree. So, boy, Nathan, that's some tall timber there to shoot for, bud, your sister.
So Middletown will start at the 35, as they chose to do so after the penalty. And Huckleberry has some running room as he gets out across the 45 and picks up a first down on the first play from scrimmage of the second half for the Middletown Knights. Sweeney in on the stop for Catoctin. And Middletown picking up right where they left off in the first half.
They're really controlling the line of scrimmage, Jeffrey, with Routson, Potter, Tidd, Phillips doing a great job across the line. Opening up some big holes for some of those running backs that are picking up yards.
16 carries, 115 yards rushing in the first half for Middletown. And 11 on the first play from scrimmage by Huckleberry. Pitch back. This is Pat Corbett, and he's got some room. He could go. Just 2 men to beat. They don't have the angle. He's into the end zone for the touchdown. And Pat Corbett, on just his second run after coming back from an injury, gallops 55 yards for a touchdown. And Middletown extends its lead now to 37-6. That's good to see. Pat Corbett, after the injury, having a big run like that.
Well, nice block that time by Tobry, sprung in, but Corbett doing it all. If anybody had any doubts about his health, I think they were shown that time that Patrick is in mid-season shape, as he well should be, and an excellent run that time by Pat Corbett for the score.
There were 3 Cougars giving chase, but they didn't have the angle. Corbett just outran them down the left sideline. And Jason Grove tacks on the extra point. And 38-6, Catoctin has still not stopped the Middletown offense.
Well, Jeff, you talked about in pregame the difficulties that the Cougars have had stopping the run. And that's tonight they've had not only problems stopping the run, but the pass as well. But clearly that time Corbett just stepped it up into high gear once he hit daylight going around the left side and opened up a jet and just merely outran 3 Catoctin players to the end zone to pick up the score for the Knights.
Middletown leading by 32. Took them just 41 seconds in the second half before they put more points on the board. Tim Drana to kick off for the Knights. Drana with the 40-yard field goal to close out first half action. Carries a 3.0 GPA and plans to attend college next fall. Senior. Played 2 years of varsity football. Kicking off for the 6th time. Back deep, Bobby Gray. And Danny Whip for Catoctin. And the kick from the 40. It's a low line drive kick that is taken at the 13-yard line by Danny Whip. He heads across the field. And Danny Whip across the 30 out to about the 32-yard line. So about an 18-yard kickoff return by Danny Whip. And Catoctin will have it at the 32-yard line, 1st and 10. And down by 32 points are the Cougars.
Well, again, as you pointed out early, Jeff, with the deficit being what it is now, in fact, it was even worse when you talked about it. It makes it almost incumbent upon Catoctin to throw the football. That's not a very good situation to be in when the defense knows pretty much what you need to do offensively, and they're just so far behind. They've got to try to score and score quickly. The jumbo attack is good, but it doesn't give them time enough to score enough to get back into the game.
Sweeney on the rollout to the left side. Looking to throw, can't find an open receiver, and Sweeney intelligently takes the ball out of bounds at the 28-yard line. He loses a couple of yards, but Sweeney not wanting to throw the interception on that play. Nobody open for Catoctin. Good defense by Middletown in the secondary.
Yeah, Gene was looking for John Schreiner about 25 yards downfield, but clearly he just didn't have a chance to release the ball, and did do the wise, veteran, smart thing a senior quarterback would do, which was to get out of bounds. Glad to see Sweeney moving fairly well that time, so whatever was bothering him late in the second quarter injury-wise seemingly is not so much of a problem right now. At least we hope that's the case for Gene.
Brian Reckley and Danny Whip in the backfield behind their quarterback Gene Sweeney. And the give is to Reckley. He gets across the 30 and gets back most of the yardage lost on the last play. It'll bring up a 3rd down and about 10, a pickup of 4 for Brian Reckley, and we haven't seen his number called very often here this evening.
It's been pretty much on the ground. Danny Whip,
3rd and 11.
Reckley, a pretty big kid, and again, they miss some of those other offensive weapons that we talked about, Wagerman and Kenny Crum, and Tiffany would see duty as a fullback, would help blocking, so they're handicapped a little bit this evening offensively.
John Schreiner split out to the far side of the field, and Sweeney fakes the handoff to Reckley, looks to throw, intended for Danny Whip out of the backfield. The pass incomplete.
Intended for number 40.
Tyler White doing a nice job at defending that time for Middletown, timing his effort perfectly and slapping the ball away before the pass was completed. So it sets up a punting situation for the Cats. Gene Sweeney handles the punting, Jeff. So again, with 38-6 deficit, 10 minutes in the third quarter, I guess your punter could attempt a fake punt, and if nobody better than your quarterback, and Sweeney's the guy that does it for Catoctin.
4th down and 11 on the line of scrimmage is the 31. Sweeney is standing at his own 19-yard line. 10 minutes, 1 second, and just as Jay said, good opportunity for a fake. He's looking for Reckley, and the pass is going to be intercepted. And Nathan Foltz gets his 2nd interception of the game, and his 3rd pickoff on Cable 10 this year. Nathan Foltz loves games broadcasted on Cable 10. He had 2 turnovers.
Wait a minute. How in the world do you remember all that?
Covered a fumble, had an interception.
My main man,
a couple of weeks ago.
The Walkman is really on his game tonight, folks, to remember that this is Folt's 3rd TV interception of the game. But right you are, the 2nd this evening, and that time the Cats going for, we got a penalty and a flag on the
against
play.
Catoctin. They'll tack on the extra yardage, I believe. Well, the penalty is
illegal receiver downfield, and of course they'll decline that penalty and take the ball, it looks like. But I guess if we could call it from the booth that there was a potential for a fake punt that time, certainly the defensive coordinators and the staff in Middletown knew it as well, and the Middletown kids were in excellent shape to defend, and of course Foltz comes up with the interception.
So Doug Williams pulling out all stops for the Cougars. Unable to convert on that fake punt on the 4th down and 11, and Nathan Foltz gets the interception, and Middletown will have the ball back again. So they start their 2nd possession of the second half with just 2 minutes and 6 seconds gone. And they have a 38-6 lead. Line of scrimmage just outside the 30-yard line of Catoctin. Again, the officials showing you the penalty against Catoctin. is declined. So Middletown will take over and move the ball back at the point of the interception. So that'll make the line of scrimmage now the 42-yard line, it looks like.
42 where he went out
A little bit of confusion out on the field between the chain gang and the officials.
Actually, they're flipping balls back and forth too. I don't know if there's something magic about one of those balls. If you're a Catoctin fan, you better hope that it's got the Catoctin magic in it, not Middletown, because thus far it's been a Middletown ball all night.
Line of scrimmage, the 42. Not much on that play. Dan Poffenberger got the call, so we're seeing some different faces for Middletown as they have the big lead here in the third quarter with 9.5 minutes to go. And Reckley made the stop for Catoctin. Cam Christensen into the game, replacing Nathan Foltz as he heads to the Middletown sideline.
Well, again, this is another demonstration of why Ambrose is one of the finer coaches around. Get good opportunity to get some kids into the game, give them some very valuable experience.
Sophomore Matt Main is still in at quarterback. And the give is to Moffitt, runs into his own man and tried to turn around and go the other way, but not much doing. He maybe picked up a yard down to the 40. So it'll bring up a third down and 8. Third and long for Middletown with under 9 minutes to go third quarter.
You know, Richard Smith made a stop for the Cats that time. The other good thing that Ambrose is doing is you know, when you get some of the kids into the game that don't get a chance to play very often, and certainly you give them experience that makes them better, makes your team better, it doesn't run up the score either. And Tim's not going to do that. He doesn't want to do that. And, he wants to make this game competitive.
See what they do on a third down and 8. Christensen wide out to the far side of the field. And the play action, they fake it. They hit Poffenberger at the 30-yard line. He's got some room down the left sideline. And Poffenberger inside the 10-yard line. And the punter for this Middletown team, who hasn't seen any action in punt formation, gets the ball down inside the 10-yard line, and the saving tackle made by Jeremy Miller and also Danny Whip.
Hey, Jeff, is this kid Maine hot, or is he hot? I mean, that ball was perfectly thrown. What a very difficult pass. Poffenberger coming out of the backfield, and Maine just kind of lofting the ball over his left shoulder. Poffenberger doing a great job of catching it and running, but terrific pass that time by Matt Maine.
32 yards on the pickup, down to the 7-yard line. First and goal for Middletown. And Poffenberger gets the call once again. As his legs are churning, he gets maybe a yard or two. Down close to the 5-yard line. And the stop is made by Reckley once again.
Sorry, Jeff, when you're 5'5", 150 as Poffenberger is, you better have those legs churning, and you better have them churning real quick, because he's not real big, and if you're not big, you better be quick.
A lot of effort by Dan Poffenberger. Second down and goal. Poffenberger and Corbett in the backfield. Not much on that running play. That was Chris Moffitt, excuse me, as tackle again made by Paul Worthen. Made a few tackles here this evening, and it brings up a third down and goal for the Knights.
Stop at the 6-yard line.
And a loss of maybe a yard. Under 7 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Well, a chance for the Cats to make a big defensive play here and
third and goal from the 6.
Keep Middletown out of the end zone in this third down situation.
Third down play. And it's Poffenberger once again.
And also again,
He fights his way down inside the 5-yard line. Didn't get into the end zone, but Dan Poffenberger carried his way down close to the goal line. It'll be a fourth down play for Middletown, and looks like they'll go for the 6 points. And clock is stopped now. Timeout called by Catoctin. So Middletown, an opportunity to get some more points. 38-6, the Knights leading the Cougars. 6:16 left to go in the third quarter. Jay again here in the second half. Catoctin unable to stop that Middletown offense. They're just doing as they please.
Yeah, they really are having things their own way, and I think as you've very eloquently stated on more than one occasion this evening, Jeff, they're doing it in the air, they're doing it on the ground. Special teams are playing well at the 40-yard field goal. They're just doing it every which way they can. And got a 4th and 1 situation here for the Knights, and there's so many guys that they can call on to try to plow it home from here, and it just gives them that's a big luxury that Coach Tim Ambrose has. So many weapons to choose from. Tough to key on any one player.
Middletown has just been on a roll since that opening loss to Thomas Johnson. They shut out Williamsport the next week, 26-0. Did the same to Walkersville in 13-0 fashion the week after. And had a comeback win last week against Smithsburg. Poffenberger once again, and he's denied a pay dirt by the Cougar defense. So Catoctin with a confidence builder there as they stop Middletown on a 4th and goal.
Credit Brian Biggs with a big defensive play for Catoctin. I believe, Jeff, maybe the first time this evening that Middletown hasn't ended up with the ball into the end zone, or the one time they kicked a field goal. So gut check time for Catoctin, and Biggs came up big, as did the entire Catoctin defensive unit. And that's good coaching, too. Let's give Doug Williams some credit for keeping these kids in the game. I mean, the score, they're well behind, but they're still fighting. They're still working hard, and that was certainly evident on that series of downs that time.
Well, a tall task ahead of the Cougars as they start inside the 1-yard line. So it's good that they stop Middletown. Not good that they have it at the 1, and Danny Whip gets a little bit of running. And the whistle blows, and is stopped by Nathan Foltz.
Boy, credit Whip that time. Maybe just a pinch quick whistle. I don't know if his knee was down or not, but great balance. I don't believe his knee was, and great balance that time by Whip. And he may still be running had the whistle not stopped the play.
Last week, as Jay mentioned earlier in the game, 3 carries of 50-plus yards for Danny Whip, and it looked like he could have gone a long, long way on that carry. But the whistle blew. 3-yard pickup for Whip, 2nd down and 7. Once again, up the middle. Danny Whip gets a couple of more yards. It'll bring up a 3rd down. Catoctin with the ball inside their 10-yard line.
The old jumbo formation comes back to us, Jeff. 4 guys off the left side of the Catoctin line, and Whip trying to sneak behind them and pick up some yardage, try to plow their way out. If not get a first down, at least get a little bit of room so that Sweeney has a good chance to punt the ball out. Cat's going to take a timeout and talk about it.
We'll take a timeout as well with 4 minutes, 41 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. It's Middletown 38, Catoctin 6. We're back after these messages.
Everybody, no matter how tough, no matter how strong, is afraid to fall. The joking around, the chest pounding, all stop dead the moment you first touch the rock. Get to the top, and then you could pound your chest.
Third down and 7 for the Cougars. Deep in their own territory. Danny Whip, the lone setback. And Sweeney with the pass, and
they tried to shovel pass, Jeff, a dangerous place to maybe try that. Maybe take Middletown by surprise, but no soap that time. So 4th down punting situation for Catoctin.
Sweeney will be in his own end zone punt formation, and probably not an opportunity here to fake a punt as Sweeney and the Cougars did on the last time they were in punt formation.
I think Coach Williams is kind of asking Gene to boot it as far as he's ever booted it, because they really need to get the ball well down the field.
A lot of scrimmage is the 7-yard line. Sweeney just about 2 yards in front of the back of the end zone. And Huckleberry from the 30, and good special teams by the Catoctin Cougars.
29-yard line.
29-yard line, Middletown will start its possession. Matt Draper with an excellent play on the special teams, and that's been one of the positive notes for Catoctin this year. They've had good specialty teams play, as you mentioned before. Ken Crum with 2 touchdowns on blocked punts. Paul Warthen blocked one of the punts. Crum blocked the other punt himself and then picked it up and carried it into the end zone. Another good coverage play by the Catoctin Cougars. And a big hole. And down inside the 15-yard line for Middletown is Corey Duffy. Corey Duffy on his first carry of the game picks up some good yardage as he picks up 14 on the play.
New quarterback in the game for Middletown, Jeffrey, number 8, Tim Draina, running the attack now. Matt Main's done his work for this evening and turns it over to Draina to continue the offensive attack for Middletown.
We know Draina can do it with the leg. See what it can do from the quarterback position. 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Draina, handoff once again, goes to Duffy. And nothing doing on that play as Brian Reckley was right in there on the stop. Didn't fool anybody.
He'll stop at 73, Jeremy Miller.
Jeremy Miller gave help to Reckley. So a loss of a couple of yards on the play. Brings up a 2nd down and 12, the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 12 for the night.
About the 18-yard line. 3 minutes, 12 seconds on a running clock. That's the time left to go in the 3rd quarter. Tim Draina at quarterback for Middletown. They give this time to Huckleberry. Slips a tackle. He's inside the 10. And finally brought down at the 3-yard line by Asa Brown.
He's brought down at about the 2-yard line.
About a yard and a half short of a touchdown goes Mike Huckleberry.
But Michael Huckleberry that time, not a big kid, 5'6", 160, but doing a good job, 150, doing a good job of slipping a tackle at the line of scrimmage, and then with his quickness got to the outside, almost made it into the end zone. Knocked off his pins just before he got to pay dirt. I got a feeling that Michael is in some way related to Sherry Huckleberry, who was an outstanding athlete here in Middletown, now playing soccer collegiately at the University of Connecticut.
And the keeper by Draina, and he's into the end zone for the score. So the backup quarterback, Tim Draina, kicked a 40-yard field goal and now takes it in from 1 yard out, playing backup quarterback, and Middletown continues to pile up the points, 44-6. Knights leading.
And Maine comes back into the game to do the holding, and number 84, Grove, has been perfect thus far this evening on point after.
And at this point in the game, Jay, the clock will continue to run in high school football if a team gets a 35-point lead. The clock runs. And Jason Grove once again tacks on the extra point. So Grove with 6 extra points in 6 attempts. 45-6, Middletown leading. Minute 45. And the clock is still running. You don't stop it for anything at this point.
This is, in the words of Jeffrey Wachter, the proverbial running clock, and it will run. I think that's a pretty good rule too. That's analogous, I guess, to the 10-run rule in high school softball, and I think it's a good rule. I think it prevents injuries, and certainly it prevents some what could be construed as embarrassing situations. I don't think Timmy Ambrose has any designs on doing that. That's evident by the fact that early in the 3rd quarter he was substituting liberally this evening. Interesting situation, Jeff. Think about the quarterback situation here at Middletown. Draina, a senior, comes in and takes the place of a sophomore, Matthew Maine. Usually it's the reverse. At this time of the game, you see the 10th graders getting a chance, or the 11th graders getting a chance to play for the seniors. Not the case in Middletown when you got a gifted and talented sophomore quarterback like Maine.
Draina has seen a lot of action though tonight. He kicks off for this team 7th time he's kicked off.
Number 30, Bobby Gray.
And just 34 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter. Back deep, Whip and Gray ready to receive the kick from Tim Draina. And it's a good line drive kick taken by Danny Whip at the 11. He has a little bit of trouble with it. Picks it up, breaks a tackle at the 20, another at the 25, and brings it out to the 28-yard line. So a good kickoff return by Danny Whip after he had a little trouble getting the handle on the ball. And clock will expire. Time will expire in the third quarter before Catoctin will start its next possession. The third quarter is over here at Middletown Stadium. Middletown has a big lead, 45-6. We'll be back with fourth quarter action after these words.
Burdett Brothers, a family-operated dealership, has helped the Frederick area drive Pontiac excitement for 50 years. Today, Burdett Brothers has a full line of 94s like the Grand Am, comfortable by design, sporting by nature, and the Transport, the van that carries any load with safety and stylish looks. Located on 355 just south of Urbana, Burdett Brothers will help you drive excitement in the sophisticated Bonneville or the Firebird, the Standard, and sports cars. A full-service dealership with an award-winning service department and body shop. Burdett Brothers Pontiac.
Ready for fourth quarter action. Steve Willis in at quarterback for the Catoctin Cougars. And they keep it on the ground on the first play.
Number 30.
Bobby Gray got the call on the first down play and picks up a couple of yards. 3 yards officially.
He picked up about 3 yards.
31-yard line for a second down and 7 with 11 and a half minutes to go in the game. And all Middletown tonight, 45-6. They lead the Cougars.
Has a new quarterback, number 7, Steve Willis.
A lot of changes in the Cougar offense. Willis, pitch back to Gray. Bobby Gray, right side, picks up another yard.
Have a flag on
Picks
the
up a
field.
third down and long.
Deflecting Bobby Gray, number 30.
There is a flag on the play. It's going to be holding against the defense.
He was stopped
Holding
at
against
34,
Middletown.
Josh Siegel.
That should give Catoctin an automatic first down.
One of the few penalties called here this evening, Jeff. A very well-played game from that context. Very cleanly played. A couple of flags, but not many at all.
Cougars will obviously accept this penalty because if they don't, it'll bring up a third down and long. Instead, the holding penalty will give them a first down at the 42-yard line, their own. Catoctin has gotten on the board just once here this evening via an 11-yard touchdown run by Danny Whip. And a drive that was exclusively engineered by Whip as he carried just about every play late in the second quarter. The first down call goes to Gray.
And also 30 Bobby Gray.
Changed his direction and then
Stop for
stopped for no
45.
game, but there's another flag on the play. Dan Poffenberger made the stop for Middletown and a face
Another
mask
flag on the field.
against Middletown, so they'll tack on some extra yardage.
Maybe the fact that you are seeing some kids play now who don't ordinarily get a chance to play will increase the chances of penalties. We've seen 2 consecutive ones called against Middletown, and I know that hasn't happened this evening.
A 15-yard penalty will move the ball into Middletown territory. Line of scrimmage, the 43-yard line for the Catoctin Cougars. That's a big help. Get 15-yard bonus on the penalty. First and 10, under 10 and a half minutes to go in the game. Steve Willis is the quarterback for Catoctin. Drops straight back to pass. Looks to throw. Has an opening on the left side. That's caught by number 28 for Catoctin, and that's John Stride.
John Stride.
So Willis to Stride for a pickup.
Pretty good throw by Steve that time. And, looking at the Catoctin roster, if you're a quarterback and you're in the Thurmont area, you know, you're an underclassman, you got a chance because both the quarterbacks for the Cats this year are seniors, so they're going to be moving on. And I don't know who is quarterbacking that JV Catoctin Cougar team, but he may very well be up on varsity next year.
6-yard pickup on the last pass play, 2nd down and 4. Willis lofts the pass to the right side. Nobody there. Intended receiver was Asa Brown.
Another flag in the backfield, Jeff.
22 Brown, incomplete.
Huckleberry on the coverage, looking for the intercept, but that one didn't hang up quite long enough.
A flag on the field.
Penalty flag is down. Nathan Foltz was still in the game, just trotted off the field for the Knights.
Director Dave Gooding tells us it was motion against the Cats, 5 yards.
Illegal motion.
Was that a movie? I think it was.
Could have been.
Backfield in motion, that was a song.
2nd down and 9 after the 5-yard penalty. 8:46 on a running clock. Willis again in trouble. And on the bootleg, he's going to be run out of bounds at the 47, 46-yard line of Middletown, so a loss of about 5 on the play. Willis faked the handoff, put it on his hip. Didn't fool anybody on Middletown, and E.O. Raglamar is the one who chased him out of bounds.
Talk about the running clock, Jeff. We saw a running Steve Willis that time running for his life, a busted play, and got the officials conferring on the side. Looks like yet another penalty, so as soon as we complimented both squads on their clean play this evening in terms of violations, now we've had 4 penalties in the last about a minute and a half.
And the clock's been running during that minute.
Well, see, now the clock is stopped, so I'm wondering if, well, I'm just wondering, but I'm not sure what I'm wondering, whether the clock could continue. I guess it stopped due to the penalty situation.
Was running during the previous penalties, but keeps up at this rate, the clock would have ran out, so the officials stopped it. Officials timeout. A 15-yard penalty, unsportsmanlike conduct, it appears, against Middletown.
Yeah, outside of the jumbo drive in the second period, this has been the best Catoctin drive of the game. And most of the yardage picked up via Middletown Knight penalties. So Tim Ambrose won't be very happy when he takes a look at this on the film.
So 2nd down and 1. After the penalty.
2nd and 1. Number 37.
That's what the scoreboard says. The chain gang has 3rd down. Willis back to throw once again. Has some pressure, gets it off, and it's going to be intercepted by Middletown's Tyler White. Another turnover for the Cougars.
By 22, Tyler White.
Middletown will take over.
And yet another flag in the backfield, Jeff.
We have a flag on the field.
Tyler White doing a pretty good job that time of keeping both feet in bounds, receiving the football, but now we do have a penalty on the play. Holding against Catoctin.
Penalty against the Cougars.
So that one gets waved off, so the Knights will take over.
They'll take the INT over a holding penalty anytime. So Middletown will get the football. And we'll probably see a lot of new faces for the Knights. Drana in at quarterback once again. Michael Pigg is in at wideout position. Dan Poffenberger, Huckleberry, Mike Huckleberry in the backfield. Jason Grove still in the game, the big tight end for Middletown.
1st and 10, Knights.
Everybody getting to play in this one. 45-6. Just over 8 minutes to go in the game. Middletown leading Catoctin. Poffenberger in the backfield. And the give is to Poffenberger. He's got a lot of running room on the right side and crosses the 30-yard line out to the 32. A pickup of 12 on the play by Dan Poffenberger. He's shown some good athletic skills.
Sure has. Shown some quickness, too. That time Poffenberger really zipping through the Catoctin line. Quick of foot, Dan Poffenberger. You talk about Michael Pigg, an interesting case, Jeff, an exchange student from Wagga, Australia. How about that? We find everything in these games.
Tyler White in the backfield as well for the Middletown Knights. And that time the ball went to Corey Duffy, and another flag on the play.
He was struck, tackled by 61, Joseph Engelberger.
Penalties against Catoctin. Looks like face mask.
Face mask again, this time on the other side. Tack on some extra yardage. 15 yards. So it'll be a first down for Middletown. It'll be just inside Cougar territory. The ball marked at the 49-yard line. 7:16 on a running clock. Tyler White comes out of the game for the Knights. After making the interception. Getting some play on offense as well for one play. The back's in the I formation. Behind the quarterback, Tim Drana. First down play. And pitch back goes to Poffenberger. Again, some room on the right side. He gets inside the 45 down to the 43.
He was stopped by 28, John Stride.
Stride makes the stop for Catoctin. A lot of running room for Dan Poffenberger.
Yeah, and it was really created by, you see Pig coming out of the game, number 9. And he's going to stay back in. Michael, you out? You in? Yeah, we're going to stay in. But Michael Pig from Wagga Wagga, Australia, an exchange student. He's the first year he's ever played American football. He's played rugby and Australian football. And, of course, my wife is from Australia, so I have to, always talk a little bit about those Australians. My wife's from Perth, Australia.
And the give this time goes to Cam Christensen. It's usually a wideout. Christensen in the backfield. Everybody getting a shot out of that Middletown backfield against TJ in the opening game. They used 10 different ball carriers and probably have exceeded that tonight.
Picked up 1 yard.
Tackle on the play made by Dale Hamilton, number 78.
At the 43.
Bring up a 3rd down and 4 from the 43-yard line of Catoctin. 5:45 on a running clock. Down with 3 backs now. Behind Drana. This time the carry goes to Tyler White. Stays on his feet after he tripped over his own man. Gets down to the 34. And is finally brought down on the play by number 45, Paul Johnson. And there is another flag on the play. What will it be this time?
Don't know, but maybe they picked it up because I don't see him walking off anything. Tyler White, that sounds like a football player, doesn't it, Jeff? And you talked about good on his feet. He showed us when he kept his feet in bounds on the interception, and certainly quick on his feet that time, circling around the left side of the offensive line for Middletown.
So first down. And the give to the first man through. That's Corey Duffy getting the call. Not much on that play for Duffy.
Stopped at the 34-yard line.
The stop is made by number 53, Eric Martin. Everybody on both rosters getting into action here this evening at Middletown High School. It's homecoming, 1994. Lisa Ressler, Ryan Jebbia, the Queen and King for homecoming in 1994. 2nd down and 9 play for the Knights. Winding down to the 4-minute mark. Dan Poffenberger takes the pitch. Good pursuit by the Catoctin defense as they string it out and bring Poffenberger down at the 33-yard line. Stop Mike Weibel for Catoctin. 4 minutes left in the game. Clock still rolling. It'll be a 3rd down at about 7. 2-yard pickup on the last play. Tyler White comes out of the game for Middletown.
3rd and 7 from the 33.
Tim Drana at quarterback, and he pitches it up in the air. And good run by E.O. Raglamar as he gets inside the 20.
21, E.O. Raglamar.
Raglamar, who returns kicks for the most part for this Middletown team. Gets some positive yardage on the rush.
Wait, a lot of these guys, Moffitt, Raglamar, Huckleberry, I mean, they're all about Poffenberger. They're all at 5'6", 5'7", 150, 160, 165 pounds. So not very big, but all of them awfully quick. And Io doing a good job that time of getting through the line. Almost broke it through for a touchdown.
He got the first down. This time it's Corey Duffy straight ahead. Duffy inside the 15 for about 6 yards.
Handoff to 41, Corey Duffy.
Corey Duffy, not a big guy either, at 5'7", 160. So, you know, we've seen both extremes here tonight, Jeff. We've seen the jumbo package for Catoctin, and we've seen the kind of the super Nats for Middletown, and both with some success.
Second down play.
2nd and 1 from 11.
2:23 left to go on a running clock. They give up the middle. Poffenberger
Handoff to 45, Dan
shaking off
Poffenberger.
a couple of tacklers, gets down to the 5, picks up another first down for Middletown.
Been all night trying to figure out number 45, Poffenberger.
And 61, Joseph
What looks so
Engelberger.
distinctive about him, and now I finally figured it out. He's got either tape or awfully long and very clean white socks. You don't see any leg exposed on 45 Poffenberger. You see black pants and white socks down to the shoes. There he is in the middle of your screen. 45 Dan Poffenberger doing a good job today.
First and goal. Poffenberger gets the carry once again.
Again to 45, Dan
Takes the
Poffenberger.
ball down to the 3-yard line. To bring up a second down and goal. Just a minute and a half to go in this game. Middletown Knights out to get their 4th consecutive victory.
Picked up
All
1
their
yard.
wins coming in the MVAL. Michael Pigg jogging off the field for the Knights. Cam Christensen back in. He's to the far side of the field. 1 minute to go in the game. Poffenberger gets the call, broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage and carries into the end zone for the score. So Dan Poffenberger, who got most of the carries on this drive, finishes it off with a touchdown run from a couple of yards out. And Middletown now over 50 points in the game, 51-6, with just 38 seconds to go. And Jason Grove is onto the field to attempt the extra point. Matt Main, the starting sophomore quarterback, is a holder. The hold is down at the 10. Grove's kick. He is good. And he's 7 for 7 in this game, and extra points. 52-6. Middletown. And that may be the final play of the game as just 7 seconds remain on the clock. Clock is winding down, and both teams have headed to their respective sidelines, and that's it. This one's over, folks. 52-6. The Middletown Knights defeat the Catoctin Cougars. Middletown on the year now 4-1, 4-0 in the MVAL. And Catoctin drops to 2-3 overall. And big game tonight for Middletown, Jay, both running the ball and passing the ball, and they got it all started early in the game. Matt Main, his accurate passing, 7 for 9 in the first half. A couple of touchdown passes, a couple of touchdown runs by Chris Moffitt. It was all Middletown this evening.
Well, it certainly was, Jeff. And again, as we commented at halftime, the numbers really did tell the story here tonight. A total dominating effort on the part of Middletown, both offensively and defensively. I think except on one occasion, one series this evening, Middletown offensively didn't end up scoring points in some fashion. 7 touchdowns, and of course a 40-yard field goal by Drana at the end of the first half. But they really put on a clinic here this evening offensively, and defensively they just certainly thwarted any chance that Catoctin had of getting back into this contest. The Cats did enjoy a little bit of success midway in the second quarter when they went to the jumbo attack, but they're in the black shirts right there, your Middletown Knights. Certainly a big and very decisive win here this evening, and certainly continues to pace the Valley Conference at 4-0. Don't know how Boonesboro did tonight, but you know, in a couple of weeks, these two teams are going to meet here at Middletown, and that is looming as a very, very important game. Could very well be the game for the Valley Conference Championship this year.
Not taking anything away from Middletown, but Catoctin was missing a couple of key players this evening, missing their top receiver, also missing Ken Crum, who moved to Ohio after last week's game. Crum playing very well on the special teams and also having some good runs out of the backfield. And defensively, defensively, probably the biggest loss this evening was Shane Tiffany, who was supposedly going to stabilize the defense and try to shut down or help shut down that running game of Middletown. Missing those kind of key players, of course, is going to hurt you, but of course, taking nothing away from the Middletown Knights. They just certainly did everything possible tonight that they could do, not being stopped at all by Catoctin. A big win for Middletown to continue their role.
Yeah, a big win for the Knights. But again, credit Doug Williams. You see him there in your picture now, giving some instructions to his Cougar team, and they didn't quit. At no point during the game did they quit. And of course, they did spark some hopes of Catoctin fans in the second quarter when they put together that long attack featuring Danny Whipp, who gave some examples here this evening of why he is indeed one of the better running backs in Frederick County, and pretty much picked up all the yardage in that 70-yard drive, which culminated in a touchdown. And you know, Williams tried to do some different things. He went to the jumbo. He tried an onside kick. He tried a fake pass from a punt situation to try to spark Catoctin back into this contest. But you know, when milk or what is it, water finds its own level and the cream rises to the top, and clearly this evening the cream on a homecoming night in Middletown was indeed the Middletown Knights.
Well, that's a wrap-up from Middletown Stadium at Middletown High School. We'd like to remind you that next week there'll be a homecoming game featured once again, as Brunswick will be at Walkersville in the Cable 10 High School Game of the Week. So for Dave Gooding and the rest of the Cable 10 crew, and also for my colleague Jay Combs, so long from Middletown High School. Once again, the final score, the Middletown Knights 52 and the Catoctin Cougars 6. Good night, everybody.